So we've looked at the inside here. These are the two hoses coming up. We've got this one marked for the bottom hose, so we know this goes to the bottom of the reservoir. This is the return line, so that goes to the top. We've just kind of draped them over here for right now. It looks like the best place to put the reservoir. So we have 4 fittings. We got 2 on the bottom, 2 on the top. The ones on the bottom, I don't know if you can see in here or not, we had molded with a plug in place. That way you can choose which side you want to go, you know, depending on your vehicle. The top ones you always use. One thing that we have been doing is reaming these out just a little bit. They should have been a 1/4 inch, but they shrank just a little bit. So for maximum flow, I recommend carefully taking a 1/4 inch drill bit and just reaming those out. I'm going to do that in a few minutes and I'll show you again. And then we're going to mount this right here. We've got as good a place as any. Makes access easy. I can see the fill lines here. We're going to come up from the bottom on this side, and then we're going to go back out the top. So these two will connect up here. The bottom will go to there. We're going to come out here towards the filter. The lower one on the right hand side here is not going to be used. We're going to leave that plugged. And then we're going to come off of here, and this is the dry filter. It's permanently sealed, so don't try to open it. These are disposable at this point. So the way this works is use the bottom to go in from the reservoir. Then this one goes out to your air filter intake, okay? So the best way to mount this, get your reservoir down as low as you can. We'll put a bracket together for this here. We'll mount this here, and then this basically going to come in something like this. Okay, we want this bottom bracket, the bottom barb, to go to this barb here. Best to keep it above with a slight angle back towards the reservoir. That way any moisture that's trapped in this, because the moisture will be trapped here at the filter. It's a 1 micron filter. It'll be trapped here. At the end of the day, when you turn the vehicle off, the moisture trapped will then drain back down into your reservoir, and that just prevents you from wasting a lot of water and steam. It's going to be just the hydrogen and oxygen that get into the engine, and also it prevents any alkaline trace which is in the gas. You can smell it. It filters that alkaline trace out so that it keeps it off of your aluminum throttle body. I like to the upper nozzles, so this is the neck of the bottle. They come drilled, but they should have been a 1/4 inch. They seem to be just a little shy of that. So I like to set up the reservoir in a vise here and just ream them out a little bit. It gives you a little bit better flow, and then it's also better to hold it still when you're drilling the bottom barb out. But you don't need to use this. Just what we do, it makes it easier. Makes it real easy. You just put a little short block of wood in the vise to hold it still, and then just turn it on, ream it out. Because these have a plug in them, I like to use a smaller bit first, just to get that initial pilot hole, and then we'll put the 1/4 inch bit in there. Just take your time, make sure it's centered up. Okay, got the pilot drilled, got it swapped out for 1/4 inch. Let's finish reaming it out. So that gives us, this one is blocked on this side. You can see that we've got a nice hole here, and we've got these reamed out as well up on the top. Again, you don't have to, but it just gives you the best, you know, least amount of restriction, and whenever you can do that, you get better gas flow. Okay, so now our reservoir is all prepped out and ready to install. We had these molded with raised lettering, the high-low marks, but they're really hard to see. You know, I'd hoped that they came out better, but you know, you spend 20 grand on a mold, that's all you're going to spend. So what I found, a little trick here, is just take a wide-tipped marker and just lightly go over the lettering, and then on that line, and that'll highlight everything. Same way up here on the high mark. See if I can do this without messing up. Just lightly go over it, and then go over your mark line there as well. And voila. Ta-da! Takes about 30 seconds or less. It will make it a lot easier to read once it's in the vehicle. Alright? Don't be afraid to modify the brackets a little bit. We had to do that with this one. You can see that side. We don't have to do anything with this side to get it to fit in where we want it to. I'm going to attach it with a little bracket to the back of this right here. I mean, there's no pressure there, so that is solid. It's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. But so I just took a little Dremel and cut that. Now, you do want to be careful not to cut too far into here, because you don't want to breach the internal part of it. But these walls are pretty thick on this reservoir, so just keep with the line of the bracket there, or keep just a little bit to, you know, the outside of the bracket here. Give a little bit of room. As long as you don't get close into here, you're perfectly fine. And you can see it's really thick. I mean, we made these, the walls of this is twice as thick as anything else available online right now. Okay? And that's still plenty rigid. Still gives us an extra area there to attach it. And then that way on this side we can get a real nice attachment to that. And then I'll fabricate a little bracket here to connect into, there's a little bolt here. That'll give us a real nice little reservoir that is tucked away nicely, easy to get to, easy to keep check of, and then still room for the dry filter behind here. We try to provide, you know, everything that you need, but occasionally you run into areas where you may have to fabricate your own bracket or something. I mean, we can't fabricate something for over 15,000 different kind of cars, makes and models. So we include the brackets for the generator. I found on this that I was going to need a little bracket for from here. So, you know, we keep in stock just this little 16th inch thick, half-inch wide strap from, I think, Home Depot. We just keep this stuff in stock. And then so this is going to basically, this is just going to go right in here like that. It's hard to see, but, and then that'll bolt the reservoir up to it. And then this one I put together. Oh, that's wonderful. Right down in there, huh? Well, oh, it got caught. That's good. Okay, so this one is going to just mount with a couple of self-tapping screws into this firewall like this, and then that will hold the dryer filter. It's very light. I mean, it just weighs ounces, and so I'll probably just use I'm not even going to use bolts. I'm just going to use some plastic ties. It's better to have it a little bit loose than too tight. So anyway, so those are just a couple of, you can make these in your vise, you know, you can make your own. In this car, 2008 Chevy, simple, took me a few minutes to make them, and then I threw a little bit of black paint on them just so they look nice. Okay, mount them up. You can see that. Just a simple little bracket. And that'll hold the reservoir. Let's see here. this up. There we go. Simple. That'll hold it nice and solid. Okay. So we got this bracket mounted. We just put in a couple of self-tapping screws there. Tuck it up nice and tight. That bracket is good and solid. That'll hold the dryer filter. Then this is the bracket for the reservoir. And I may just do a plastic wire tie around here. Make it easy to remove. Not put too much strain on this. Not that that moves, or I mean, it's well secured, but just for ease of installation. So as I've been doing this, I tuck the hose in and then have to run. Well, thing you have to be careful. You can see that this hose got scuffed, and it's because that shroud doesn't go all the way around. And last night it got caught. So I'm going to have to cut that out and splice it, and then run it up underneath here and wire tie it. So just a word of caution, make sure that your hoses are always run away from moving parts, because you don't want leaks. All right, we're almost there. Before you mount this permanently, make sure you get all your hoses cut. We've got the bottom one cut right here with a clamp on it. We're getting ready to cut this one now. We have this one, see, this one cut with the clamps on it. That'll go right here. So before you mount your reservoir permanently, do it just a temporary, get it all set, get your hoses ready to go, then remove it and connect all your hoses first, then mount the reservoir. It makes it way easier to you know, that way you're not wrestling with it after you've already hooked it all up and connected it. So we're almost ready here. We've got that ready to go. Let's go ahead and pull this bolt out of here. All right. And this one we're not using, so that one we just leave it alone. I'm going to start with this one. Let's go ahead and put this on this side here. I think before I tighten them up, I'm going to slip them on. Okay, so you can see we've got the dryer filter mounted, just with ties. Homemade bracket here, just screwed into the firewall. Comes, so this from the reservoir comes out into the dry filter here, and then from here it's going to go around and into the air intake of the vehicle. Okay, so that's the last one we need to do. This is all put together. We have this bracket that we made, just kind of fastens onto an existing structure. Just a little piece of metal from Home Depot. This side, I was going to make a bracket, but realized there's no reason for it. Just a little tie. I mean, it's not going anywhere. It's solid. Really, this is enough to hold it, but this is just there to help support it. And then we have the bottom hose going down to the bottom of the generator.